All right, have and have not fans. Now, I appreciate the patience here. I let everybody know in a post on the community tab that I wouldn't be able to do videos yesterday, Tuesday night, because of my dentist appointment. My mouth and gums were still sore, but I'm feeling a lot better now. I'm at my folks' house until Thursday, so I decided, with everybody at work right now, and my nephew's getting ready to go on the school bus. Now's as good a time as any, right? So I watched the episode about at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. And truth be told, I was actually awake. I was the only one awake at the house at 9 o'clock when the episode came on. I had been up since 4 a.m. So in the middle of Candace and Charles talking, I got bored and I went to sleep. I didn't even tweet. I literally just passed out. And after watching the episode at 4 o'clock this morning, I can safely say that I am glad I decided to go to sleep. I'm not saying this was a terrible episode. It was not a bad episode. It was just not that good. I think the main problem is typically when we get to either the mid-season or season finale, basically when we get to a point in the show when it's about to go on break, those last 3 to 4 episodes are typically some of the best of the entire season. This episode was more of setup. So once again, I'm not saying it was a bad episode. It just isn't one I would drop everything and go watch at the drop of a hat. Just put it that way. So let's say if I knew what to expect in this episode before it came on last night at 9, I probably would have made the same decision and just have fallen asleep. To me, it didn't do much. I don't even really feel like getting into the Benny and Jeffrey. Those two. Why those two were acting like idiotic brats is beyond me. Well, actually, it's as I said before. I think I mentioned this in a live stream that I feel like for whatever reason, Tyler Perry took the stupidity that Benny had last season and just crammed it into Jeffrey's head. And we've seen a preview for next week that it's almost a one flew over the cuckoo's nest kind of situation with Justin, because he has pictures all over the apartment of Jeffrey, and I'm like, did he go on Facebook and find these photos? And I get a little suspect because a lot of the pictures he has on his wall are screenshots I have on my computer. But you all know that I have those screenshots for the sake of doing my videos and Instagram posts. So that's my, reason right there. And it really I'm going to do a separate video on this, but seeing Justin with the apartment with all those photos of Jeffrey on the wall, it reminds me of Family Matters. When we get a glimpse into Myra's bedroom and she has Steve Urkel wallpaper. Yeah, that's not creepy at all. But let's just get to the meat and potatoes of this episode, because the first 10 minutes was, Charles and Candace talking, then with Landon coming into the room. Not a bad scene, I'm not going to lie, because we picked up where we left off last week, but it just really didn't excite me. But it was great just to see Candace smiling, because Tinka Sumter has a beautiful smile. Really, it's about, inviting her to the White House again, and two big things about this scene. Number one, Charles suggests that Candace tried to mend fences with her mother, and we see that in the preview for next week. And secondly, guys, with a smile on his face, even going back to the end of the last episode, Charles is hiding a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff he either isn't ready to tell Candace yet, and he playfully teases that, hey, the stuff I've done is nothing compared to what you did. So guys, gear up, because we might find out more about him either in the mid-season finale or later on this year in 2019 when the show comes back. Landon comes in, talks with Candace, and it's good to actually see Candace talking to him like a friend, as opposed to, just being the cold-hearted bitch she usually is. So even though the intro, when I say the intro, I mean the entire scene in Landon's hotel room with Charles and Landon himself with Candace, it took about the first 7 to 10 minutes of the episode. It was still good just because of setup and just seeing Tinka smile and, interacting with everybody with kindness, as opposed to, just cold-heartedness. So it was good. It just wasn't enough to, really pump me up for what was to come. That's all I'm saying there. Justin calls Jeffrey, and the most annoying part about this is twofold. Number one, Justin is still blaming Jeffrey for what happened to him, even though he now knows that it was David that sent those thugs over there. And now he's just playing the, are you going to come see me? You need to come see me. Do you feel bad about this? Yeah, I love you too. Then Madison rolls up and is like, okay, you were listening, weren't you? And I'm just like, what? Jeffrey, are you really doing this right now? And he's like, okay, you know what? Now I remember why I didn't like you in high school. You're always so damn nosy. And I feel like we're seeing more of Veronica and Jeffrey now. You know, the whole paranoia, like, oh, you were listening in, weren't you? It was like, I was just getting breakfast. And it's like, well, yeah, don't talk so loud that I can hear you from the kitchen. And I don't fault him for pointing that out. Basically, you know, he's just talking to a brick wall. Madison's just telling Jeffrey not to go over there. And then David overhears, comes downstairs, confronts Jeffrey, and in one of the dumbest scenes of the episode, Jeffrey pretty much is acting like a rebellious teenager, saying, well, why are you back with mom? Then how come, if you're back with mom, how come I can't be with Justin? Most would say that Jeffrey is right, which I can see why, but as an audience, we pretty much know now that David is scheming against Veronica. Yet Jeffrey is too dumb to see that. And like, I can understand because Madison was right there, but I mean, he did try to leave, but then David's like, no, stay. And he's like, no, go. And then it's like, wait, what? So basically here's the basics of the scene. This is my house. This is my rules. Yeah, your house, her house. Maybe I need to find a place. No, Jeffrey, you know what? Go ahead, Jeffrey. Go ahead. I don't even care. Like, I was going to do a video before last night's episode about, you know, Justin doing something to Jeffrey when he gets over to the place, but I didn't even feel the need to do a video because we all know about it and I've talked about it enough, so there's no point. I'm at the point now when it comes to Wyatt, Jeffrey, and Benny, whatever happens. You know, go ahead and do what you want. Then if you get killed or whatever, I couldn't give a damn. I don't give a damn. I really don't care. Let's see here. George is talking with Sarah. Basically, the main thing here is Sarah feels that she committed a crime. She wants to fess up. And really because, you know, Jim blackmailed her. She wanted to expose him and the secrets to let out about the stuff she was doing in college. Basically, whoring around, a prostitute, I believe. George held up a photo. Sarah walks out. The only big question with Sarah is whether or not she's going to get killed in the mid-season finale. That's really all I got to say on that. Wyatt comes in, and once again, folks, I really already talked about this in other videos. The big takeaway of this is the Little Lizzie thing, and I said this years ago, me and my mom. I don't think he hit Little Lizzie. It's as George pointed out, well, how do you know you hit her? Because they told me. And the only other thing is the fact that we finally get to see Little Lizzie for the first time when George holds up the photo. So that was the very first time we got to see Little Lizzie. And I said it before, if you go back to season 2 when Jennifer was still alive and she had another guy interrogate Wyatt, Wyatt told the story of how he was at the crack house and these guys tried to jump him because, you know, they basically mug him. And basically because, you know, he was a white guy with nice clothes and a nice car, so they assumed he had money on him. So basically, this was all unseen, folks. This is just Wyatt recapping it back in season 2. They tried to jump him and they beat him and everything. And I'm guessing, me and my mom theorized that one of the guys took the car, sped off, hit Little Lizzie, and came back for Wyatt. Came back to where the car was parked. Then Wyatt got in the car and tried to drive off, and there were a couple of guys, you know, on the back of the car, and he just, you know, kept on driving. So once again, this was something that was never seen on the show. It was only mentioned. So I think that it wasn't Wyatt who hit Little Lizzie. It was the same car. And another thing, remember, he said it was his car. It was Jeffrey Harrington's car. Go back to the ending of season 1 where, you know, Wyatt got Jeffrey to admit that he's gay. He took his car keys and took the black sedan. So once again, folks, that was not Wyatt's car. That was Jeffrey's car. So let me know your thoughts on the Little Lizzie situation there. Jim is hearing everything over the phone. The person across from Wyatt has her phone on. That way, you know, Jim is able to hear everything that's going down. I wonder if she had it on when Sarah was talking too. Just keep that in mind. He's talking with David, pretty much saying, call all the dogs out. If we go down, we're taking everyone with us. And then that one girl sat down. I was like, you need to move your ass out here. Then she just got up. That was, I don't know why, but that was just funny. Let's see. Catherine visits Hannah, pretty much apologizing for Jim. You know, yeah, Hannah, you defend your children no matter what, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like speed through this review, but there really was a lot of talking this episode. She asked what it feels like to have that kind of money, and pretty much, you know, she earned it will be different. And once again, Catherine points out the obvious about Hannah. You need a job. I know you don't want to work at the house, but how about the hotel? And that's going to be pretty interesting. So I wonder what's going to happen in that situation. Will Hannah eventually catch Catherine in the midst of one of her threesomes with Broderick and Rocky? Will she discover that the prostitution ring is being revived again? There are so many elements to it that we really don't know, but I'm excited to see what's going down. And I do like the fact that Catherine, like, look, stay in this house, get the job at the hotel, because as stubborn as Hannah is, look, you don't have any money, you don't have a job, and where the hell are you going to go? Like you said, you might stay with Derek, but then again, not that I care what happens to Benny. I wonder what that means for Benny. Just saying. Then let's see. Hannah says that when Benny gets better, they'll go and get the money back. Okay. Guys, my sister and nephew are in the kitchen getting ready for for him to get on the bus. So if you hear background noise, that's why. But I do like the acoustics in my bedroom here. Basically, Hannah likes Derek a lot. She's just suspicious seeing him with Veronica. And as she said, you know, what is meant to come to the light will come to the light. And I really do feel like we're getting foreshadowing about Derek, and we'll get to that, you know, in I'm trying to record in here. Sorry about that. But basically, we get foreshadowing with Derek, and Benny apparently got restitched when Mitch and him arrived. Okay, guys, I'm a bit confused here. At the beginning of the episode, Candace asked Charles, wait, is it morning? Implying that they have been asleep all night. No sex, they were just cuddling in the bed. Yet, when Benny and Mitch arrive at the house, you know, Hannah made it seem like they were gone for a long time. And then Mitch is like, oh yeah, we had to go to the hospital to get Benny restitched. And that is something that actually makes sense, because remember, Benny just for whatever reason was able to leave the hospital with not so much as any medication. He just literally got up from the bed and was able to leave. Okay, and who is paying for these restitchings and the medication? That's what I want to know. So after that, you know, he comes in, is acting like an asshole. And as I said a video before about Mitch becoming an enemy, you know, Mitch was a bit annoyed the fact that, you know, he's doing nothing but helping Benny, and he's not, and it's not about getting repayment. It's just that Benny's being ungrateful about everything, because Mitch just calmly told Hannah where her son was, and for good reason. And yet he's being an asshole. Benny, not Mitch. Derek shows up, and oh, I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to skip over this, but Catherine apologizes for Jim. Benny kind of brushes her off, and at the same time, it's like, I really wish in that moment they could have just easily said, hey, you know what? Me and my mom are going to go to the bank and sign the money over to you, so this way we can end this once and for all, instead of being a little prick about it. So that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Then, you know, Mitch leaves. Derek shows up once again. Benny just being an ass. I mean, the whole mama's boy thing is just an excuse at this point. Even when they go into the kitchen, Benny shows up. Okay, and another confusing thing. So, didn't Hannah say dinner as in, oh, if Derek wants to take me out, I don't want you to spend the money, I can cook. He playfully teases her. Wash your hands, we're going to fix dinner. Well, I'm going to stand here and watch. So, I get it, folks. Everything in this show happens at different times sometimes. But once again, Candace and Charles have been sleeping allegedly all night. And it's the next... Even the episode title is called Morning. So, if it's really the morning, then why are Derek and Hannah getting ready to fix dinner? I'm confused as all hell with this. But the one foreshadowing thing is like the dark shading when it came to the conversation between Hannah and Derek in the kitchen. And then another thing, remember the first thing Derek did when he went into the kitchen was he put his hands on the, you know, the island in the middle, you know, of the kitchen. And I'm wondering, did the police ever come back to the house to get the fingerprints after the whole situation where Malik attacked Hannah? Remember that? What happened to be careful in the kitchen? The police are going to, you know, dust it for fingerprints and everything. Did they ever come back? We never saw it. So that's... I wouldn't even call that a nitpick. It's just something that I really wish we got follow up on. After that, Wyatt gets tossed in the van. Jim is there, so everybody's right. Jim was in the van. Veronica arrives at Catherine's house. We get a lot of nods to Veronica and Catherine's father having sex. within his house, and we get information about everything that used to be here that's his is in the basement. And, you know, Veronica cheerfully says, oh, David and I are getting back together. Oh, really? Then Jim shows up. Wyatt's, you know, acting like an ass. And I'm just like, oh, you're grappling with me? And I'm thinking to myself, Jim, after the beating you got at those very steps that you are standing at right now by Hannah and Candace, the last thing I think you want to do is pick another fight, even if it's with your son. So, yeah, Wyatt just went to the kitchen and, you know, went into a drunken stupor, looking around the house, going to the basement. And that's one thing I did like. We got extra footage of inside of the house. I did appreciate seeing that. He goes down to the basement, looks through a chest, finds it full of guns. So the bullets he uses to load the gun, I believe he put 3 or 4 in there. They were in a box, so I don't believe those are the same bullets that Sarah had when she gave him to Jim. And so it looks like he's seemingly going to shoot everyone. That involves David, Hannah, I'm sorry, man, my bad. David, Veronica, Catherine, and Jim. And I pretty much talked about the end of the episode, my bad. Going back upstairs, Jim arrives, David's there, and the most interesting part of this is when David comes in and kisses Veronica on the cheek, and Jim's face is like, what in the... You know, like that meme or that gif of that woman with all the calculating thing, you know, the equations around her head, and basically trying to figure out, like, one minute he's saying he wants to kill this bitch over the phone, now he's getting back together with her. What's going on here? And pretty much, you know, they're all together just to pull their resources to get out of the mess that Wyatt has them in. So looking at my notes, folks, I pretty much explained the entire episode. Like I said, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good, and very confusing when it says morning. Like, I would assume it would be the morning because everyone's wearing new outfits, or excuse me, different clothing from what they wore the day before. So could somebody tell me what's going on? I really don't know. So with that being said, what did you think of the episode Morning? And also, one last thing, I want to give a shout out to Veronica herself. Miss Angela Robinson has a YouTube channel, and be sure to follow her on Instagram. I love her IGTV and Instagram stories. You know, this is Angela, not Veronica. She's really doing a great job, you know, inspiring people with, you know, messages that I'm not going to lie, a couple of her things hit home for me and helped me make it through the day. So she just got started, a couple of videos. You know how I have my channel, Jeremy Carden? You know, that's my 3rd channel now, where I just talk about life and stuff. It's kind of the same format with her, but of course, you know, she has a lot more experience and whatnot under her belt. So I would definitely suggest hitting the subscribe button on Angela's channel, and a picture and everything is right there on the screen for you, and I'll put a link in the top comment. So what did you think of the episode Morning? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Have you had a chance to watch it yet? Like I said before, I really don't even feel like going in on Benny and Justin and Jeffrey anymore, and Wyatt. I just don't care about the characters. So those are my 2 cents with that. Oh, and with that being said, always hit that subscribe button and be on the lookout for my trailer breakdown video for next week's episode, the pre-mid-season finale episode, 15 minutes. Thanks so much for making it to the end of this video. Be sure to click the thumbs up button if you like what you just saw, and if you have anything you would like to add to the video itself, go down to the comment section below and type out your thoughts. And I also have social media related to the haves and have-nots: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook page, Facebook group. Links to everything will be in the description below. And if you like action figures, video games, and trading cards, I have an eBay store as well, where there's free shipping on everything. But I also have a second YouTube channel that I'm working on, where I talk about things that are non-Tyler Perry related, such as anime, superhero shows and movies, music, pop culture, and sometimes political news, depending on what the circumstances are. Be sure to check out that channel as well. In the top left-hand corner, you should see a picture of Candace Young. You can click on her to subscribe to the Haves and the Have-Nots review. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. And if you like the video you just saw, be sure to check out the other 2 videos that should be popping up on the right-hand side. Trust me, if you like this video, you'll love them too. Once again, thanks so much for visiting my YouTube channel, and I'll talk to you in the next video.